Hello, it's Martin
and Arthur.
And in this video we are back with some servicing updates, and there's always good news and bad news. So the bad news is that basically every year in January BMW revise their prices, and as with anything, most of them have gone up. However, there's also some good news because we have managed to be a little bit quicker with some of our jobs. So in this video, feel free to have this on in the background. There will be a long chit chat, almost like a podcast. We will update you on what's happening at Wisely and the trends in the industry, and especially for BMW Mini products, how the prices have changed for parts and servicing jobs and what you can expect and how it relates to the BMW i3 mostly.
So what should we start with, Martin?
Let's start with what people come to us most for, and that is a routine i3 service, whether it's a BEV or a REX. We used to have 3 options, but we are simplifying.
That's correct, yes. So we've been using the PDF document, and for about a year, or actually no, it says from March 2024, we've kept to those figures. I think personally, sort of getting cars serviced at other businesses and stuff like that, one thing that I think customers really value is just knowing exactly what they're going to pay, and that's why we sort of work quite hard to keep that menu up to date. And there's actually sort of mid-year BMW makes some price changes as well, and actually we just absorb those just to keep things simple. But once a year, in line with BMW's January price change, we have to kind of overhaul this. Starting from the top, the biennial service, so servicing every 2 years. Not a huge amount of change. I'm just looking over at Martin's screen, and basically it's been £230 for a BEV and £360 for a REX. I'm just looking, and that has gone up to £234 for a BEV and £366 for a REX. So £4 and £6, and that's mainly due to price of parts going up. Our labour's stayed the same on those jobs. So for example, just looking here, the oil filter, for example, has gone up from £15.47 to £16.66. So it's £1, but it's £1 on £15, so it's quite a big percentage increase. But yeah, overall, in line with how generally things are going up at a crazy rate at the moment.
And you make a couple of interesting and important points which we need to make clear. Our hourly rate is not increasing. It is just the price of some parts supplied by BMW, which has gone up in this case.
Yep.
The number of hours we bill hasn't changed.
Yep.
However, you have quoted that middle figure because we are pretty much dropping all the other options. Everybody tends to go for the middle service option anyways.
Yeah, so we looked at 2024 data, both back at Weymouth Road when we had it and also mobile since then. And we've never once had in 2024 anyone go for the sort of lower tier or the kind of entry level servicing option, which essentially just uses a kind of paper filter, like a £20 filter instead of the proper BMW filter. So that's the only reason it's cheaper. And so just to simplify things, because it's a bit daunting if you look at that menu, there's sort of 3 options for this, 3 options for that. We're just simplifying it, and we're just leaving the middle tier, £234 and £366. And then if for some reason someone wants the top tier version, let me take a step back and just explain what that even is. The difference is it's in the cabin air filter. So the cabin air filter that BMW use and comes in a BMW box, it costs £64.79 plus VAT from BMW. Now, that is manufactured by a company called MAN Filters, and it literally has a MAN part number printed on it, and you can buy that same filter from MAN. It's identical part, it just doesn't have the BMW roundel. And by doing it that way, we buy it for less. We buy it for £39 plus VAT, and that's why that middle tier exists. And that's why it's hugely popular. And even on cars that are still under warranty, not that there's many anymore, that won't invalidate your warranty because it's still a BMW OE manufactured part. It just doesn't have the BMW roundel on it. If for some reason someone's really fussy and they want that BMW supplied MAN filter, we'll have them on the van, so it's just a case of paying a supplement, which will be £29.
Nice and simple then.
Trying to make it simpler. Yeah, that's the aim there.
And I think that's enough of servicing. Let's look at the situation with the parts, because there's a lot of concern about obviously the i3 now being discontinued, and it has been discontinued for a few years now. How is that affecting the supply of parts and the pricing of parts. And there have been some small changes to some of them, but on the other hand, some have gone quite almost through the roof, you could say.
Yeah.
And we have some examples ready to list.
We do indeed. So some of the price changes seemingly just come out of nowhere and really surprise you. The one that I always sort of keep in mind was the price of the lower headlight or the main beam lights on a pre-facelift car. I believe they were like £100 odd, and then all of a sudden they were like £300, and that's still the same to now. So generally speaking, I'm pleased to say the majority of things have gone up, but we're talking like a couple percent here or there, nothing major. There are one or two things we'll get to which are a bit of a surprise, and also some things have gone down, although only slightly. So yeah, if we work down the list.
So let's start with brakes. And again, we had a couple of options. We had the genuine BMW, and then we had Febbies as a lower cost option.
That's right. We're going to keep with that. We looked at basically simplifying that as well and just offering the BMW discs and pads. We've been added to some kind of BMW approved partner program. It's called PIQ, Partners in Quality, and that means we get some parts from BMW at a discounted rate, and brake components are one of those. And by passing some of that discount on to the customer, we thought we'd get to a point where actually we could get awfully close to the price of what we were doing brake servicing for using the Febby Bilstein parts. But there's still about a £50 difference. So I think we're just going to leave both options, because if someone's on a budget, generally speaking, we get on well with the Febby Bilstein parts. We think they're good. So at least this way, you've got the choice. And worth mentioning in terms of mobile service, these are all parts that are on the van, both options. So if we turn up and you weren't even expecting to get any brake work done, it just came up as an advisory as part of the service, you'll get the choice there and then whether you want to use the Febby Bilstein parts or the BMW parts, depending if time allows, obviously. All of them have gone down, because the Bilstein parts have come down in price as well, interestingly. I don't know why, given I'm pretty sure all the components are unique to i3. I think maybe the rear pads are also on a 2 Series Active Tourer or something.
Which is a mini platform, so it could be on the Mini as well, yeah.
So, but probably now the old platform. So why the prices have gone down, I don't know. But overall, so as an example, if you wanted to get your front discs and pads done using Bilstein parts, that is now £314, whereas it was £340. And the BMW disc and pads is now £395, whereas it was £434. So about £40–50 hopefully improvement on those prices.
Next very frequent job, probably second most frequent job, suspension gaiters.
Yes.
And this is where the good news is, isn't it?
I mean, it's good news. It's not huge news, but the gaiters are one of the few things that have gone down in price. So they used to be £11.59 plus VAT. They have come down in 2025 to £9.87 plus VAT. So actually, like percentage-wise, that's like a, 15–20% reduction.
The bad news is that most of the job is labor.
Yes.
So there's no way of going around it. The price remains very, very similar. It's still about £200-ish.
Yeah, so
to do the pair.
213 down to 209. So yeah, £4. But hey, every little helps. Just before we move on to motor mounts, something to mention with suspension is the Evolve products. So we're fitting more and more of that. We get a lot of people interested in just having the dampers without the lowering springs. So we've actually now divided up that line, or we've created two lines there. One which is for the dampers and the springs. That remains at 1099 fitted, including VAT, including parts. And if you just want the Evolve dampers without the springs, it's £939, including VAT. Just adding that to make it sort of more transparent. And I should also mention regarding that, and actually also everything, these are all parts and labour sort of supply and fit prices. There's no hiding. We make some money on the parts, so it's unfortunately there is no option of sort of supplying the parts yourself. If you'd like to use us, it's a case of kind of using us for everything.
And then obviously the job comes with proper warranty.
That's a good point.
And the parts come with the warranty from BMW.
That's right. We'll never sell a part for more than the BMW RRP. We have, as you can see from this video, access to the live RRP data. So yeah, we'll never charge more than the RRP. So it's generally the same price as if you walked into a BMW dealer to buy the part yourself. But by having it supplied and fitted, it comes with a 2-year warranty. If you've ever got an issue with, for example, let's say we fit a heater for you, a lot of those at the moment. If it fails within 2 years from us fitting, you can actually visit your local BMW dealer to kind of start the warranty process. They take the car in, look at it, and then they'll change the heater for you. So yeah, you're actually, by using us and getting the parts supplied by us, you get that 2-year warranty.
On the topic of Evolve dampers,
Yes.
I think it's a good point to ask whether people want to know anything about them, because we still haven't done a video about them to this point. So if you're interested in knowing how they handle in comparison to all the other i3 setups, whether the lowering springs are worth it, etc., maybe it's something which we can organize with someone who actually knows what they're talking about, because to us, an i3 handles like an i3. You know, they're a little bit different, but we will probably try to partner with someone who is actually a professional car reviewer with their opinion on it.
If you know anyone, or if you're watching and you know how to pedal a car, then definitely let us know. Yeah, it's same with the Michelin tyres really. It's something that years ago when we first started selling the Michelin tyres, we said, oh, we want to do a video, but I don't think it would do the product justice if we sort of review it. Firstly, there's a bias element there, and also we're not sort of professional car reviewers. So yeah, I think if there's interest in it, then definitely comment below and we'll try and arrange something about the Evolve kit.
So motor mounts,
there are some price changes. Actually, it's just the price of the actual mount itself. So the rubber component's gone up from 108 to 112. That's plus VAT. The price of all the brackets, for example, we're doing an upgrade on an older car. Those prices are all still the same.
and it's worth mentioning that this is a job which, despite being drivetrain related, we can do mobile depending on the situation.
Yes, we can indeed. It's not preferable, but yeah, I did one last week. It's a difficult job, but we can just about do it mobile. On that note, this is one of very few jobs on the menu that actually I've taken the decision to reduce the labour hours on. So for a BEV, we were billing this at 4.2 hours and I've reduced that to 3.8. And for the Rex, it was 4.8 hours. That's been now reduced to 4.4. The new prices for a BEV are 1028 and for a Rex are 1022.
So at £40 down.
Yeah, or yeah, £40 for the BEV. Yeah, just trying to keep things fair. We've got faster at it, and yeah, it would be bad. Well, it would be good business, but it would be bad practice to keep charging the same. So yeah, lowered that a little bit.
Electrical stuff. Obviously, we've got the low and the high voltage.
Yeah.
Any exciting developments on that front?
So the 12-volt battery obviously is a job that we do a lot of, and pretty much in line with everything else. It has gone up a tiny bit, like £2 or £3. So nothing major there.
The important one is, as we hinted at, it's the heater. It seems to be heater season now, and we are booking into April now. So unfortunately, if your heater is not working, it's very unlikely we can squeeze you in
before the summer starts.
Yeah.
On that note, actually, this is going off topic a little bit, which I know you told me not to do, but so many of the heater replacements we've done in the last couple months, when we plug in ISTA and actually check the fault codes, that heater's been faulty for way before sort of winter started, and in many cases the person only just bought the car sort of in autumn or in the middle of summer. You know, if you've just bought an i3 or if you're watching this and you know you're about to buy an i3, definitely whatever time of year it is, check your heater, check your rapid charging, your slow charging, your heated seats, all these things, because you know there might be some kind of warranty, or there should be some kind of warranty if you're buying it from somewhere reputable. So yeah, seems silly to only find out 7 months later when you could have found it out in the 6 month period. And
we may have a little guide coming out shortly on what to check for in an i3.
Yes.
As a complete list.
Yep.
We are just taking our time to really cover about as much stuff as possible. I'm sure other dealers will absolutely hate us, but I think it's something which, you know, with our knowledge, it's fair to put it out there.
Yeah, there will be a downloadable checklist, so that's definitely going to annoy a lot of dealers. But the amount of cars we're selling is reduced quite a lot now, and so it's only inevitable that you're going to be buying your cars elsewhere. So we might as well try and help you out and give you the best start on those purchases. And obviously we're here to pick up the pieces if there's any problems down the line.
Moving on to the high voltage stuff.
Yes.
EMEs. We haven't really had that many failures.
No.
But something interesting has happened. You mentioned that there is now an exchange program.
Yeah, so I don't want to say for sure, but there's quite a few EME part numbers and KLE part numbers.
And before you continue, EME, just for those unfamiliar with all of these abbreviations, that's the electrical machine electronics. Correct. So the inverter living on top of the electric motor.
Correct, yes. So it handles so many functions of the i3, including actually sort of powering the motor, also weirdly sort of heating, anything really to do with the high voltage system that EME has a part in. And as a result, because of the different kind of variations of i3, 60 amp hour, 94 range extender, rapid charging, no rapid charging, there's quite a few different part numbers. But one thing I did notice when going through the list is that for the 60 amp hours, I think in particular the ones with no CCS, a exchange option has popped up. So instead of paying basically £5,000 plus VAT for the part, you can now pay £3,000 plus VAT, but you have to give back to BMW the broken one. Now, usually when an EME is replaced, the old part is surplus to requirements anyway. There's a sort of handful of places that might buy it or repair it, but generally speaking, it's an expensive paperweight. So to save the customer £2,000 and take it back off them to, I guess, recycle it or repurpose it shows that they're trying, I guess, to do something about it and to help customers with with repair costs, because that is basically one of the biggest repair bills on an i3.
Do you think there is any chance of reconditioned i3 parts coming onto the market soon, or is the volume just not high enough for that system to work?
We're at a point in the i3's life where something like an EME failure or a motor failure, in many cases, repairing it properly, fitting a new part, plus the labour involved, is skirting close to the value of that car. So a lot of people decide not to do that and either scrap the car or flog it or use used parts. Now that situation's only going to get worse. I don't think we've bottomed out on i3 values. That they will probably still go down a little bit. So yeah, I think there's a market there, and on that note, actually, I think there's no firm kind of leader in that field. So yeah, we're definitely not clever enough to do that kind of stuff. But it would be great to hear from companies that want to do that kind of stuff, because it will keep, instead of paying £5,000, even if they earn a grand or two on a repair, it'll still be cheaper. So
and in some cases, it's so sad because we know that with the heating and so on, there are dedicated fuses in the EME which are a couple of pounds each maximum.
Yeah.
And there's some labor to get to it.
Yeah.
But BMW's official recommendation would be to replace the entire thing for £5,000 or write off the entire vehicle.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got a car ongoing at the moment with a HVAC fuse that's gone, and it's like you say, it's like a £10 component. But as far as BMW are concerned, they don't sort of see that or endorse that as an approved repair. It's either replace the whole EME or live with the problem. So yeah, definitely an interesting area. And actually there's so much talk about battery swaps. I've noticed a lot on the internet picking up about sort of batteries coming over from China and stuff. Honestly, from our perspective and being sort of on the ground, so to speak, with calls about problems, that's not what we need. We need these modules being repaired at a reasonable price. We don't need battery upgrades. That's not actually that in demand.
And this doesn't go just for BMW. It's a lot of manufacturers these days. to keep, I suppose, the servicing streamlined, it's a matter of swapping stuff rather than repairing stuff.
Absolutely, and the wastage is phenomenal. There's a lot of things which are, for example, the heated seat. And actually, we can move on to that.
The heated seat was £383.
383. So now 416. So actually, that's one of the ones where I've increased the labour from 2 hours to 2.25.
That's a very fiddly job.
It is a fiddly job, and the reason I bring it up is we're perfectly aware that there are guides online on how you can almost kind of bypass the broken wiring and
hack it, yeah.
hack it for a lack of better words, and it's quite quick and quite easy. We just can't do that because it is ultimately a part of the safety, or it's a safety critical part in the car as far as BMW are concerned. So if that wire caused the heating element to overheat and burn, and then there was a fire or whatever, the impact on us having carried out that hack would be huge. So unfortunately, we have to replace the whole heated seat pad, and that's one of those jobs that we wish we could do cheaper by not replacing the part, because we know you can, and we know the guides are out there, but please take those with a pinch of salt and be careful, especially if you're sort of using someone else to do that, because it is still ultimately a safety critical part.
Can you imagine the headlines? Wisely Automotive sets someone's ass on fire. Still staying with the topic of the drivetrain, but moving on to the mechanical components.
Yes.
Transmissions. So
Yep.
Electric cars still have a transmission, it just is a single speed reduction gearbox with no clutches. Mm-hmm. An interesting development on the price difference between the full electric i3s and the range extenders now.
Yeah, so not the best of news for range extender owners, and I've not noticed any pattern. This really is the biggest price increase I've found, having updated our list. There will be others, but they'll be on parts that we don't keep an eye on. The price of the range extender e-transmission, which looks slightly different because it has some kind of arms or outriggers to hold onto the range extender, that's gone up from £589 plus that to 711. So £120 increase on that part. Whereas the same e-transmission for a BEV, a fully electric i3, has also gone up, but only from 458 to 469. So £10 instead of 120 or whatever it was. So don't know what to read into that. It's not like, I've looked at other Rex specific parts, and it's not like they've gone crazy. So yeah, for whatever reason, there is a bit of a differentiation there, and the Rex job now, unfortunately, is...
It was already much more expensive to start with, because there's a lot more labour of removing the Rex to get access to the actual gearbox.
Yeah, so actually I've got the breakdown here. So replace transmission on a BEV, 3.75 hours we charge. For a range extender, we charge 12.75 because of what Martin's just said. We have to drop the whole drivetrain to basically split the range extender from the motor, and then you've got access to the transmission. Whereas on a BEV, a fully electric one, actually you don't even have to, you just have to take one drive shaft out and you can kind of remove the transmission sideways. So yeah, overall the job on a range extender is now £2,600, where it was
2,400.
That makes sense. It's the £120 difference. But I don't know what to think of that. Do you think it's a sign of, Rex prices going?
I just think with some of these price changes, it seems to be completely random. It would be interesting to know whether maybe it comes from a different supplier, the part which could, because even though sometimes you may think it's the same part, it actually is not.
I can't imagine, because the internals are all identical. The final...
It's the casing,
Yeah, the ratio and everything is the same. It's literally just the casing. So yeah.
If this makes you undecided about whether to go for a Rex or a BEV, we have done a video on that.
That's true.
So make sure to check that out by clicking the top right hand corner. But this is one of the points which I raised at the end, that even if the Rex itself doesn't go wrong, to do an electrical repair within that very tight engine bay, it's just a lot more labor to get to certain components.
It is indeed, yeah, it is. It's just one of those things. It's a fantastic car, but in that sense, yeah, it's just a shame that it was, packaged so tightly. That said, good proper warranty, and you shouldn't have to worry.
On that note, we can continue on to the actual engine stuff.
Yep.
There's obviously the usual old school stuff. We could say, fuel pumps, injectors, oxygen sensors. Any interesting developments there, or fairly consistent?
I'm looking here, very small changes. Fuel pump relay, £13.70 to £14.20. Injectors have gone up from £129 to £131. Spark plugs, 13.23 to 13.45. So no, nothing major really. Everything's gone up slightly.
I suppose with the current inflationary times, that's not a bad thing if it's fairly consistent.
Yeah, and we're talking small numbers.
Exactly.
It doesn't feel like it's in line with what everything else is going up by. Yeah. Anyway, actually, just by chance, I've got onto some electrical stuff. I was going to mention the door lock assembly.
That's on the trim and body.
Okay,
yes.
Fine, that's why it's here. So that has gone down from £175 to £170, so £5 reduction. And in particular, so just to explain, that is the door lock assembly. So if your door won't open from either side, you pull the handle and it's not doing anything, that's that part. So yeah, £5 reduction.
And we had a streak, almost like a bad luck with those for a few months last year.
Yeah.
But it seems to have, knock on wood, it seems to have died down now.
It's gone a little quiet on that side, but and as we've probably mentioned before, it tends to be the passenger side one that goes wrong. The driver's side one we've only had to replace once or twice. It's almost always the passenger side door lock that fails. So yeah.
And we don't quite understand what's happening there.
No. And one we fitted, I think it was last year, then failed. So that was.
And that's when we used the BMW warranty.
Yeah, that car went into BMW for that to be rectified for a second time. But yeah, clearly something in the part supply chain there that's not quite right.
And we are getting to the end of the list. So on the topic of actually diagnosis, I think we should mention that we have started doing a lot more of remote diagnosis sessions.
Yeah, super
Even as part of, if you book any other of these jobs where we are uncertain, and just to confirm that we have got the correct parts on the service van before coming out, like the heaters, we do a remote diagnosis session with those jobs. It's included in the price, or you can book a session if you just want a list of codes for your vehicle.
One of the main things that sort of we try to achieve is just to give you or just to reduce the uncertainty. So if you're booking us, if you're booking with us for steering noises, so I've got some kind of noise, whether it's turning or knocking. Well, do you know what? We'll put it down on the booking as you need top mounts, but when we get there, everything's on the van, whether it's drop links, top mounts, gaiters, coils, dampers, it's all on the van. So let's assess it. We'll drive it. We'll know at that point, hopefully, what it is. If not, we'll disassemble it, and then we'll replace what needs replacing. There's no kind of awkwardness that, you've bought top mounts just for me. Well, they're on the van anyway. So if we can be dynamic in that sense, and by having a sort of fixed price, people can kind of know the worst case scenario. The reason for bringing that up is, so like Martin, you mentioned this over-the-air technology. It's been really useful the last few months. If, for example, we've got someone booking in for a heater or something, obviously we can ask a few questions, but beyond that, there's no real certainty that it's the heater that's broken or if it's something else. Sometimes there's other reasons heating doesn't work. So what we can do is we can dial into the car over the air, whether the person's in Devon or Birmingham or London.
As long as they have decent signal.
That's true, yes. Mine's been struggling recently with a few cars, but on the whole it works all right. It takes about 5-10 minutes, and we basically get a report at our end, and it shows all the error codes. It's like a light version of Vista, but it's enough for us to, on certain jobs, just for both our sake and the customer's sake, know that we can tick the box and say, yeah, definitely need a heater, or yeah, there's no uncertainty here. That will sort the issue. We can't use it for everything. There's certain things which it it will show us the codes, but it won't interpret them or run test plans or critically show us the mileage stamps for the error codes, which sometimes really helps sort of point out what issues happened most recently. But with a bit of experience, we usually can kind of tell which error codes are the ones that are causing the issue.
I think I should stop you there because I think, let us know in the comments whether you would like to see a video on this.
You think? Yeah.
Because it's quite an interesting feature and it's one of the perks of modern connected digital cars. And on the i3, it gives us the basic functionality, but we can compare it to the i4 and the iX, which are newer architectures.
Yeah.
And then I think we should be able to do some remote testing as well.
There is, yeah.
But we haven't been able to try it out yet because luckily, again, knock on wood, the second time, we have been quite lucky with the newer stuff, which is still mostly under warranty.
Yeah,
but
true.
we haven't had any kind of reliability nightmares yet.
Yeah, but it's no. If you're interested in seeing how that works, because it's given it works on 2014, 2015 car, that you wouldn't have thought when you bought a 2014 i3 back then that someone, let alone even an independent, could over the air, hundreds of miles away, tell you what's wrong with your car. So yeah, it's pretty cool, and not a lot of people know it exists, and yeah, we use it a lot.
Yeah, I think that's it on the service menu side of things. The other thing which we should maybe briefly talk about is this thing which we get asked about a lot, and that is parts. Obviously, ordering parts is not a very straightforward process. With us, we have got access to parts catalogs. The ordinary person out there, you can't just go to bmw.co.uk/parts and you can't easily find what you're looking for. Is it worth asking again the people whether they would want a parts shop if we were ever to launch a website in potentially the near future?
Yes, you've dropped a lot of little Easter eggs there. We're always interested in serving the i3 community as well as we can, and if we do happen to have the functionality of a website, which for 10 years we haven't had, and to date we don't have a website, but once we do have one, if we have one, more on that soon, we could have a parts section, and we'd be willing to do that. So yeah, service kits, particular parts, trims, stuff like that. Obviously, there's an international audience. We get a lot of people from abroad who sometimes contact us saying they live in countries where you can't even get BMW parts. So yeah, I'm not saying every single part out there, but if there would be demand for the kind of the bare essentials or the most popular things, wiper blades and stuff like that, we could give it a go. So yeah, comment below if you think that would be of interest to you, sort of buying parts for fitting yourself from Wisely. I think that is a good place to end it. One kind of main point to make is, obviously in general, all the prices have gone up. Only a small amount. Some things have gone, the transmission's gone up quite a lot. A couple things have gone down, but in general, as is the norm with 2024 and 2025, it seems to be that things are only going one way. We're trying our best to kind of suppress that by keeping our labour rate the same. As you've seen in almost all cases, the amount of time we spend has stayed the same. In some cases, it's come down. It's also worth mentioning, for example, on the biennial service, we charge 1.45 hours for a BEV and 2.15 hours for a Rex. In reality, if you've had me come out to do a mobile service recently for you, and it was, let's say, a BEV, I don't think I've ever done a BEV service in less than 2 hours. So even there, like we're undercharging a bit. So yeah, hopefully fair value. I mean, comment below. It'll be interested to hear what you think. But the one kind of thing I want to end on is just mentioning that there's a risk that people watching this will go, oh well, the i3 prices are spiraling out of control, and there's it's a discontinued model and all this. Well, we did a little bit of groundwork and found a few prices for other BMW cars that we bought parts for last year from BMW. Not that there's many, it's sort of petrol stuff, but for example, I've got some BMW M2 parts, so a window lifter, a radiator, and the front brake pads on a 2019 BMW M2, and those have gone up on average. We're talking like 5% price increases there, basically similar to the i3. There was a BMW 3 Series vacuum pump, the 2012 BMW 3 Series. That's a 3% increase. A BMW i8 rear indicator, small but still an increase. Mini Countryman oil filter. So yeah, it's not just i3s. It seems to be across the board with the BMWs. And then beyond that, trying to compare that to other manufacturers, unfortunately, because we specialize so specifically in i3s, we really don't have that much data. We bought a B-pillar trim for a Taycan, which was a bit scratched up last year. That cost £50. I've checked the catalogue, it's now £51. So kind of typical with what we're seeing with BMW. And a Cayman windscreen, which I happened to get a quote for, was £645 and it's now £677. It's quite a lot of money for a windscreen, isn't it? But
it's
Porsche tax, Porsche tax, yeah. But that's a 5% increase. So they're literally the only parts that I've got access to. I think we checked a Polestar price and that had gone up pennies.
Yeah.
And we checked a Tesla part, although we'd only ordered about 3-4 months ago.
That stayed the same.
And that stayed the same. But we don't know 12 months on whether it would. But yeah, so I've got no kind of concerns that i3 prices are spiraling out of control or anything like that. As you can see, it seems to just be just typical of the industry that I guess the raw materials, etc., are going up.
And it's not just the price, it's the availability as well. We haven't seen any major problems in terms of being able to get parts.
Recently, it's been okay. Yeah, there's. I guess we only find out about the ones that we open the door to. But yes, at the moment, everything's in pretty good supply.
Good. In that case, last couple of housekeeping bits.
Go on.
Lead times for Wisely servicing.
Yes.
We are now booking into practically May, I would say.
Yep, so 1st of February, and we are booking into May, so 3-month lead time at the moment. And
still mobile only.
Yeah, still mobile only. We will be having a static location. There's sort of no need to hide it. It'll be in London, but that's not going to be anytime soon. So in the meantime, it's mobile only. And on that note, if you are looking to use us, please feel free to get in touch. Try do so as early as possible. There's if you own your i3, when your next service is due. There's no reason not to get it in the diary. We've got bookings now for sort of September, October, even just people who've just wanted to get the date in, and that really helps us sort of backfill and get all around the country. But yeah, we can maybe overlay a graphic showing everywhere we've been.
It has been basically everywhere, maybe, but Scotland.
We've not done Scotland yet. No, we haven't done Scotland yet. If the demand's there, we will come. We have done, I'm just adding it up, well over 100 bookings now done, and we've got 100 in the diary. So yeah,
and we are busy. The diary is now open much further in advance, as you mentioned, compared to what we used to do when we had the static just workshop locations. So yeah, even if we told you back about a year or two ago that we only book a couple of months in advance max, that has now changed to allow us to schedule the routing and so on to be efficient.
You've just reminded me of one thing we were meant to mention, which is that inevitably there'll be a few people watching this who have already booked a service with us and I haven't come to you yet. And what does that do, or where do you stand in terms of pricing? Well, if you paid your deposit before this video went out, or basically in December, before we updated our price list, you're price protected. So we tend to buy the parts as and when we receive your booking prepayment. So yeah, if you've booked in for a heater replacement back in December, you'll be whatever price was on the email is the price we will charge you. Obviously, if while we're there you decide to get something else done, then the new prices apply. But yeah, on that note, if you want to book ahead, especially at the tail end of this year, if you're looking to make a booking for 2026, well worth getting that in before Christmas to avoid the inevitable next price increase.
And our distance fees are still on the introductory rate, which will probably go up as well.
Yes, it will. We're just holding it for now because obviously it's not ideal that we're 3-4 months ahead. So as a little kind of thank you for your patience, yeah, we're keeping the special offer, which is the third off.
And we don't have the alternative of you bringing the car
That's
to us
right.
for now.
I think, don't hold me to this, but I think we will keep the reduced distance fee until we can provide a static workshop option. So yeah, but I might pull that decision.
And while we are dropping all of these Easter eggs,
Yes.
the last one to drop is to maybe shrink that lead time.
Yes.
Are we looking to hire someone?
100%, yes. So I might have mentioned it in a previous moving wisely moved.
I love that we don't know the name of our own
Moving
series.
wisely. In one of the moving wisely videos, that yeah, we're going to start a recruitment campaign soon. So you'll see a few posts and videos and stuff. But yeah, if you happen to know someone, or if you are yourself a technician who's interested in joining to be a mobile service technician, we'd 100% like to hear from you. Ideally, we're looking for people from a BMW main dealer background, so level 3 or level 4 hybrid trained. But yeah, we're willing to hear from anyone as long as you're kind of able to demonstrate the kind of standards and quality that sort of we stand for here.
Lovely. Nice.
Good stuff.
Positive note to end on.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much for your continued support.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks for bearing with us in this move period.
Yep, absolutely. But yeah, it's only good things have come of it. You know, the mobile service is going really well. So, and we probably never would have got around to it if it wasn't for this move.
We were pushed into it.
That's right.
But yeah, lovely. Thank you very much again. And subscribe if you want more EV content. Mm-hmm. Our i3 playlist will be up on the screen as well. And we will see you in the next video.
Thank you for watching. Take care.
Bye-bye.